If you're looking ahead to the next year and you're thinking about doing a do-it-yourself or a DIY planner, this video is for you. So what I cover in this video is the thought processes and the things that you want to think about before you start making purchases and before you really start getting into details of creating and structuring your planner. But really quick, I want to introduce myself. My name is Tiffany. I'm a human design reader. I'm super obsessed with planners, ravens, and foxes. And I also really enjoy systems that support self-discovery and acceptance. So I love Myers-Briggs, astrology, human design, and Enneagram. I really think that these are modalities or frameworks that can really tell us a lot about ourselves. So first thing you're going to want to do if you're thinking about setting up a DIY planner for the next year, decide the notebook type that you would like to purchase. So here are the considerations. Think about binding. Do you want a spiral bound? Do you want it to be thread bound? Do you want it to lie flat? Are you okay with glue? Next, think about size. Is this a planner you're going to want to throw in your purse or bag? So you need to be thinking more of a smaller or medium-sized planner. Or are you going to be using it at your desk? And so a big, large 8x11 planner is going to work just fine for you. Next, you want to think about paper quality. So the most common paper that you find in planners is usually in the range of 20 pounds to 32 pounds. Really, the only reason this matters is if you're going to use a lot of markers, if you're going to do a lot of artwork, a lot of coloring, or you're going to use a lot of pen or inks that are going to bleed through, having the higher the paper quality, the less likely that the pen marks and the markers will bleed through. But again, you also have to look at the pens that you're using too, because sometimes pens are just going to pretty much bleed through no matter what. And so be thinking about that as well. Also, consider the number of pages that you want in this planner. Some notebooks have, say, I don't know, like 80 pages, and then some are going to have 200 pages. So really structuring out how you want your calendar layouts, the number of layouts you want, and the number of blank pages you want ahead of time before you buy your notebook is going to be a really great idea. Also, when it comes to the cover, do you want a hard cover? Do you want a soft cover? Do you want it to have artwork on it? Do you want to be able to do artwork on it on yourself and maybe you just want a blank slate? Lastly, the page style. So do you want it to be blank pages? Do you want it to have grids? Do you want it to be lined? Do you want it to be a dotted grid page? So that's all. These are all things that you want to consider before you actually dive in and actually buy the notebook. Here's a list of some very popular notebooks that are used to create DIY planners. The first is Moleskine notebooks. They have a variety of page styles and different sizes. Leuchtturm 1917 also has a variety of sizes, colors, and also what's nice about these is that they actually number their pages for you, so you don't need to do that. There are also notebooks that are called Northbooks that are quite popular. If you're vegan or looking to purchase vegan items, Scribbles That Matter might be a great option for you. Another DIY notebook would be Rhodia Diorama. That can be found on Amazon. I think most of these can be found on Amazon, actually. There's also one called Le Môme Notebook, and then there's Amazon Basics. And so I'll go ahead and link those in the description in case you would like to check those out. Next, you're going to want to think about what is my calendar structure in my planner. So the calendar is going to be the backbone or the spine of your planner. And there are different layouts that are going to help you with different things. And I'll get into the details of that in 1 second. I also wanted to mention if you're new to doing and creating your own planner, you might look at bullet journaling if you haven't already done so. There are so many great websites, content creators, videos on how to do bullet journaling, different layouts, getting really creative with it. It's actually where I started in creating my own planner, and then I started branching out and just really doing my own thing. So before you deep dive and really start creating your planner, I think it's a really great idea to think about how you actually work, how you enjoy working. How can you lean on your strengths? So if you look at the top of this list, you have a year at a glance layout that obviously captures the year at a forest view. And then at the bottom is a daily layout. And that's really for somebody who loves to work in their planner every single day. Maybe they do gratitude. They tend to be very consistent. So really kind of think about what are your strengths, what are your preferences, and then really lean into those. Don't feel pressured to add daily or weekly views if you're really just not going to use them. So starting at the top, year at a glance. This is obviously a forest view. It's very high level. It's great for tracking pay dates, maybe travel days, or even if you have a blended family, maybe kid weekends. Quarterly views are great for goal setting, and tracking the success, the wins, the pivots that you might need to make along those lines. Monthly layouts, this is as small as I go for my own planners. Tracking appointments, setting monthly goals. And again, this is for somebody who doesn't necessarily like to be in their planner every single day. It's more maybe somebody who's in there several times a month. Weekly layouts are great for appointments, habit trackers, to-do lists. And it's for somebody who really likes to be in their planner very often, at least on a weekly basis. And the same with the daily layouts. If you're somebody who really likes to use your planner to capture memories, to do journaling, you're very consistent with gratitude, or maybe it's affirmations, or you want to also put your to-do lists in there, then look at some daily layouts to put in your planner. The last thing we're going to consider are the extras. So first we're going to talk about practical things you can add into your planner. So again, thinking about this stuff before you actually go out and buy a notebook is going to be key, because you're going to want to make sure you have enough blank pages in that notebook to build all the things that you want. Some practical layouts or suggestions are goal setting layouts. Goal setting and tracking of those goals. So you can set annual goals. You can do a mid-year review of those goals. You can set quarterly goals. You can set monthly goals. You can do an end-of-year reflection on your life and the goals that you set that year. Budgeting, you can set up your budget plan, for your monthly budget, and create a list of the things that you have to pay in a given month. But you can also set up a plan, and link it up to your paychecks, or link it up to when money does come in and when you're going to pay specific things. You can also add a personal development or learning tracker in your DIY planner. If you're somebody who has a certification and maybe you need to get continuing education credits, or maybe you just love learning and you want to track the courses that you take, this is the perfect thing to put in your planner. Future logs. Again, this is a bullet journaling concept. So you'll find that in a lot of bullet journaling websites or YouTube channels. But basically, it's a way of tracking events for the current year and the future year if you would like to. Debt trackers. So if you're on a debt-free journey, maybe you're paying off a credit card or a car or something like that, you can find a lot of really cool and unique layouts to help you and help support you on your debt-free journey. And then consider what blank pages for notes how many blank pages for notes do you want? Are you the type of person who's going to grab your planner and just start writing notes? Or, are you somebody who likes to do impromptu or ad hoc layouts at the back of your planner? That's definitely something that I do. So I always try to have as many blank pages at the back of my planner as I can. Last, we're going to talk about the fun stuff. So what else can you put in your DIY planner that's fun, but also super supportive to you and the work that you're wanting to do? So the first thing to think about are pens, markers, and ribbons. How many bookmarks do you want to have? It's really great to think about these things prior to buying your notebook, because you want to make sure that you have high quality paper in your notebook and pens that are no bleed, so that you can do a lot of decorative work in that planner. Maybe you like to highlight things or just reference things. So really think about that before you buy that notebook. Vision board. If you're somebody who really loves to create a vision board for dream and manifestation work, you can dedicate a couple of pages in your planner just for vision board work. If you're someone who's into manifestation, you can Google and look for different manifestation layouts that work for you or that feel supportive to you and include those in the blank pages of your book. And then I want to talk a little bit about Venn diagram or authentic code. So authentic code is a term that Lacy Phillips used in her To Be Magnetic work. I will also link her in the description below. But basically what it is that with either of these is you're identifying the top 3 to 5 things that are important to you in your life, and you're using that to guide decisions and ensure alignment. I do have a video on this, and so I will be sure to link it here. Also, if you're somebody who's into tarot or oracle card layouts, there's all kinds of options for annual, monthly, weekly, or daily layouts. And then the last one I have here, but if you go out onto Google or onto YouTube and just Google what are creative layouts, you'll find a bunch more. But bucket lists, do you want to capture a bucket list in your planner? Are there places you want to travel, experiences you want to have, restaurants you want to visit, national parks that you would like to visit? So these are all the things that you want to consider before you buy that notebook. I hope this video was helpful to you, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop them in the comments.